The uncanny valley is a dip in affinity we have for things that start to look more and more human but not quite. In the 1970s, Japanese robotics professor and engineer Masahiro Mori was making robots and making them look more and more human over the years. He noticed a relationship between how positively people felt about the robots and how anthropomorphic, or human-like, they were. And he charted it out on a graph. Up to a certain point, people felt more positively about his robots with more human-like characteristics. But when his robots started to look quite human, but only quite, then people started to feel pretty negatively about him. And if the uncanny differences can be almost completely minimized, then you can start to see people having an affinity for it. Successfully crossing the uncanny valley, in my opinion, is kind of like crossing a very strict version of the Turing test. It wasn't a completely novel idea, because Darwin wrote something similar in The Voyage of the Beagle when talking about a South American pit viper. He wrote, "I do not think I ever saw something more ugly, excepting perhaps some of the vampire bats." I imagine this repulsive aspect originates from the features being placed in positions with respect to each other, somewhat proportional to those of the human face, and thus we obtain a scale of hideousness. But Masahiro Mori spelled it out more clearly than anybody before him. Remember this Sonic? That's why he's gross. My two favorite theories for why it happens is pathogen avoidance, where we naturally avoid things that look sickly or unnatural as a way to avoid getting sick. And then the other one is conflicting perceptual cues cause cognitive dissonance, where things look human and not human at the same time, like in this classic Vsauce example.